The next thing I do want to talk about here is just like the continued fallout of the Luka Doncic stuff. So Anthony Davis gets hurt in his first game with the Dallas Mavericks and is seemingly going to miss like fairly real time here.
After hooping, like he was playing extremely well. Like he was sending a message, obviously, about, in his first how many ever minutes he got, was playing very well.
100% was playing great. But this is the risk you run with Anthony Davis. And this is why this deal was always batshit fucking crazy. Like, Anthony Davis is a guy that has played more than, I think it's like 65 games just once in the last 6 years. And you're trading Luka Doncic for him. Like, I don't get it. So in the last 6 years, including this year now, because he's not going to get there this season, seemingly, he has played more than 63 games. Let's see, just once. It was last season when he played 76. Yeah. But 2019, he played 56 games. 2020, he played 62 games. 2021, he played 36. 2022, he played 40. 2023, he played 56. Last year, he played 76. This year, he is up to 43 of, let's call it 50, and he's going to miss a bunch more time this year. But like, at least he's not like out of shape? Question mark? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
this is the exact reason this never made sense. Anthony Davis is not your, like, all due respect to Anthony Davis, who's a great basketball player and is one of the 10 best players in the league, and Max Christie's balling out and sure, whatever. Anthony Davis himself has not been the pinnacle of peak health in his NBA career.
Yeah, and ultimately, I think people would point to, well, like maybe Anthony Davis is his bad luck and they think Luka's is going to be because he doesn't take care of his body. Availability is availability at the end of the day, right? Like, some people have bad luck. Like, I don't like injury prone is not a word I like, but truly some people just can't stay healthy for whatever reason. And I'm not smart enough to tell you why, but there is something weird about trading a guy because you shorted his health when he's 25 for a guy who is 31 and has had availability. I should say you shorted his availability. That's what the Mavericks said, right? For whatever reason, they shorted Luka Doncic's availability throughout the rest of his career because they didn't think he was going to be available to play. They traded him for a 31-year-old who has had the exact same concerns. Again, doesn't matter why, has had availability concerns and issues throughout his entire career. You can't be surprised when this happens. I mean, he wasn't healthy when you traded for him. So I feel like we're beating a dead horse with it, but it's not surprising that it happened, I guess. It is Anthony Davis, as talented as he is, he's had availability concerns.
Yeah, so this is where we get into what the Dallas Mavericks' new governor, Patrick Dumont, had to say about this to the, I believe it was Dallas Morning News. Dumont made it clear to the news that he too is a big believer in culture and in specific traits the Mavericks want in players. In my mind, the way teams win is by focus, by having the right character, by having the right culture, having the right dedication to work as hard as possible to create a championship winning outcome. And if you're not doing that, you're going to lose. Dumont's tone then turned forceful. If you look at the greats in the league, the people you and I grew up with, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, they worked really hard every day with a singular focus to win. And if you don't have that, it doesn't work. And if you don't have that, you shouldn't be a part of the Dallas Mavericks. What the fuck, dude? Like, genuinely, truly, and I believe this is Brad Townsend who got him like on the record. First and foremost, how dare you? Kind of like Luka Doncic is like a dude from Slovenia who's worked his balls off every day to get to the NBA and to become what he is capable of. Second, the guys that you and I grew up with, Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant, Shaq, you can like hit Google and look at the stories about Shaquille O'Neal. Like, what Shaquille O'Neal first and foremost got traded out of Orlando, like, and then signed with the Lakers, and then got traded out of the Lakers because like people thought this was going to break down. And oh, by the way, then he went and win a fucking title in Miami. This is honestly, I have not been more angry about like an owner statement than this one in a while. This represents such like a lack of understanding of A, what the fan base is going through, but B, like what it takes to be a super high level athlete. Like, how fucking dare this dude come in here and like be the governor of this team for as short of a time as he's been involved and be like, oh, they worked really, really hard every day with a singular focus to win. You think Luka Doncic doesn't give a shit about winning? You think he's not competitive? Like, watch this dude play.
So I have two thoughts when I read this. One, Luka better be an absolute disaster off the court for them to put this stuff out this strongly. And I usually don't care to know the ins and outs of things. Like, I don't think it's any of my business. But this is one, like, I want the stories to come out. I want the book to come out about how he never works on his game, how he eats like crap, how he doesn't care, how he's a bad teammate. Because to me, if I read between the lines, that's what they're saying. The continued message is not a winner, not a hard worker, not a culture guy. I would like to know the examples of how that's entirely true. The second thing is, and I'm cool, like if that's what you want to build the foundation of your organization on those type of guys, then you better stick to it through and through, from top to the bottom. Kyrie better be grinding every single day. Derek Lively better be that guy every day. Like, I hope you're holding everybody as accountable as Luka Doncic whenever it comes to that, or you just trade them if they're not that person. I just, maybe I'm naive here, Sam. I just find it hard to believe that Luka Doncic is a lazy ass that doesn't care and doesn't work hard and is an awful teammate. And if he is, how the hell did he get that team to the finals last year? Like, I don't understand how that worked. So, excuse me, I'm struggling to understand. They like double and triple down on it and are being very aggressive and adamant with it to the point I'm kind of like you, where I'm like, wow, this is aggressive. This is a lot.
It's a wild choice. It's a completely wild choice to like come out and say these things publicly. And like, oh, by the way, again, like your fan base is like in the middle, not of like a revolt, but they are so angry right now. And rightfully so. Like the Dallas Mavericks fans like deserve to be frustrated with this, but they especially deserve to be frustrated with this after this. Like, you know what? Like sometimes like owners make, sometimes GMs make decisions that you disagree with, whatever, right? But like this is kind of like laughing in the face of fans to me. Like, this guy just took you to the finals last year. And I get it that like, look, like Windhorst literally had to do a thing like at the finals after game 3 where he was like, that's the winner's, tunnel over there. And, Luka's over here in the loser's tunnel because he complains about the officials and all this stuff. Right. The guy took them to the finals. What, you think he was just fucking around? Like,
I don't know. It's fascinating. Again, this is what I want to know, the stories. I want to know. Like, I usually don't care, Sam. I truly don't. I don't think it's my place to know the ins and outs of some of this stuff. I think it's my job to analyze the basketball we see on the court for the most part, and I'm comfortable with that. This has gotten to the point where I want to know, because it almost seems disrespectful, or like they're treating us like we're stupid for just. I can't just take it at face value, I guess is my point. I'm struggling to just listen to him say that and go and just fully believe it, that Luka Doncic isn't any of those things. And maybe I'm crazy, like maybe I'm so naive, and stories will come out of LA and whatever. I don't know. Maybe so. Maybe we're all going to be wrong. But
Yeah.
I struggle to take it at face value. I want to know more. I want the examples of him not working on his game, of him being whatever, so poor for the culture. I just feel like you can find 1,000 different and worse examples of being bad for the culture than what Luka Doncic is. And I don't want it to turn into like a Luka is perfect thing, right? I've critiqued his defense as much as anybody and some of those things, but I don't think he's not a winning basketball player,
then
Sam.
you're going to reference I think I'm probably the driver of the Shaquille O'Neal is like underrated long-term historically bandwagon. Like, I think that because he is the way he is on TV and everything, like, we undervalue how unbelievably dominant Shaquille O'Neal was and how incredible that dude was on the basketball court. I mean, you go look at a photo of Shaquille O'Neal when he came into the league out of LSU, and you look at him in his prime with the Lakers, and then you go look at him in Miami, and you look at him those last years in Boston. Didn't stop him from being a top 10 player of all time. Like, it's completely and utterly baffling to me. It makes literally no sense whatsoever. And oh, by the way, I keep saying this. And again, this does not come from me having any knowledge of Kyrie. I don't think anybody has any knowledge of Kyrie realistically. Like, I'm glad he's finally been named to the All-Star game. He is the replacement for Anthony Davis. It is so well deserved that's going to be what he gets the reward for here. But he has a player option this summer. That point can't be emphasized enough, in my opinion. You've built this entire thing around Anthony Davis, who tends to miss a lot of time, and Kyrie Irving, who is a player that is, again, you and I talk about this all the time, might be the most underrated player in the league, genuinely, at this point. He also is mercurial, like a dude who marches to the beat of his own drum, whatever phrase, idiom, statement you want to make about him. He is somebody who makes his own choices for his own reasons. And anybody that thinks like they know what he's going to do when it comes down to it in June, July, I find it hard to believe that they know for sure.
Yeah. No, it's a good point, right? Because it's like, okay, you would think that, hey, we're essentially handing you the keys to the car, Kyrie. Maybe Kyrie doesn't want the keys to the car. Like, if there was ever a Kyrie thing to do, it would be, you know what? I kind of like being the second guy playing off of this star and then being the guy in the second unit. And I really kind of fell into that role. I really enjoy it. You know what? I'll turn down that player option, go find that role somewhere else in the NBA. You know, it's like, would you be shocked if he ended up on the Lakers next year somehow? Like, he's just like, you know what? I really like playing next to Luka. I'm going to go play for the Lakers. You never know with Kyrie. Like, who knows? Maybe he wants to go play with the Nets and be their guy or something. You know, to your point, he's just one of those guys you cannot predict. Maybe he also uses it as a way to hold them and get as much money as he can, because he has plenty of leverage whenever it comes to this offseason and how he wants to handle it.
And this is the other thing now too, right? Like, if I'm Kyrie, I'm going to them and saying, you're giving me 4 full years, 35% max.
You maxing me out. You have And we brought this up. Nico said leverage, he worried about leverage with Luka or whatever. If I remember whenever he went through his whole spiel, I'm like, you completely lost it with Kyrie. You talk about leverage. You have none with that dude. He has you whatever he wants.
Totally. Like, I want 4 full years, max number 35%, or I'm out. And he has the Mavericks have to do that, or else this window that they've talked about with Anthony Davis, them having it, it's over. Like, it's gone at that point if Kyrie just leaves for nothing in the summer. And by the way, like, the reason that I wouldn't be wildly enthused about giving Kyrie that deal, he turns 33 in March. So you're talking about age 34, 35, 36, 37 playoff years for Kyrie. And Kyrie seems like a dude that takes care of himself. We haven't seen a drop off yet, but that feels like a risky deal in and of itself.
Yeah. it's fascinating situation.
It truly is. It really is. Like Kyrie is now at the point where he has everything over the Mavs, or he gets to just leave and say, I want to go somewhere else and do what I want to do. So